What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another, episode of the 10-7 MMA podcast. We are back. Happy Monday, everybody, after a great 4th of July weekend. Justin, I know you're in Michigan doing your thing out there. I had a little celebration in LA, which was pretty chill, pretty cool. But we are back to a regular week, a regular weekend. We got some cool stuff to talk about. Now, nothing crazy happened over the weekend in terms of fights or major announcements, but there's one big fight that did get announced. This is for the September 6th card, I believe, and this is going to take place in Paris, which is super cool. But they have announced a pretty big fight in your boys division, Sean Strickland's division, the middleweight division. Imavov versus Borralho. I always feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I think it's Borralho or Borralho. But Caio Borralho is going to be taking on Imavov, which is pretty much a number one contenders fight. Justin, let me turn it over to you. I know Borralho has trained with Strickland and trains at Extreme Couture. Take it away. What's your thoughts on this matchup and this fight?
Really love this matchup, man. Borralho is awesome. All those guys. He has an incredible team behind him. He has an incredible sports system. They're really smart. They're calculated. If I'm not mistaken, they have like a doctor behind the scenes, like a sports doctor behind the scenes that does analysis on all his opponents to really figure out the game plan for the fight. On the other hand, you have another tough guy on the other side, but Borralho, I think he's a bigger name. He has more star power in the long run. I feel so. I got to take him right now. He's coming off a loss. I think he's going to get back in the driver's seat and take it to him.
It's not just the star power. Like I'll put it like this. Even that Izzy fight, if you watched Izzy against Imavov, if you guys remember that, I thought Izzy was doing a really good job. He got caught. Now, not taken away from Imavov, he has some pretty clean striking. If I remember correctly, he hit him with a straight two, but I'm not positive about that. But it's just boom, hit him on the button and took him down. But I do think Izzy was winning there. But the big thing about Borralho, and I just made a video about him and his pick in the DDP versus Khamzat fight. We're going to talk about that later on. That's topic number 5. But the thing about Caio, which gives me a ton of confidence in him, is the mind. You mentioned they have a team. They have a physician on staff. They do kind of collective brainstorming and game planning at the Fighting Nerds. And if you listen to the Jackson pod in its entirety, you really hear his system and his process in terms of understand. Like, he is so dialed in. He literally treats it like, any entrepreneur who's spending over 100 hours a week building a business. Like, that's how he approaches the fight game. And I was so impressed with that. And when I heard that, I'm like, man, this guy's going to be something very, very special. Now, one thing I wanted to point out to you, and I want to get your thoughts as a fighter as to what this means to you. But there's this amazing moment that I did put in that video that I just released, by the way. There's this amazing moment between Caio and TJ Dillashaw, who I think TJ Dillashaw is one of the brightest minds in mixed martial arts. And they're nerding out over the way that Caio modified his game plan, his fighting stance, and his approach from Craig Jones to the next fight where he fought, what's his name? Killer Gorilla. What's his name? The big dude. Oh my God. I just totally blanked. Who else is in the middleweight division? Jared Cannonier. Yeah, I totally blanked. When he fought Jared Cannonier, and they're nerding out over how he changed his fighting style, way he positions his hands so drastically from one fight to the next. And he was almost in awe of that ability to game plan. Justin, let me turn it over to you. When you see somebody that is of himself watching loads of tape, carefully concocting a game plan, modifying his stance and his style in real time to adjust to new opponents, what does that tell you about him and his future as an MMA fighter?
It just says he's a step above everybody else right now because there's the sport's only been around for like 30 years, from the 90s. So this sport's still evolving. Even when you look at like football, like coaches are doing things different. They're studying tape different. They're bringing in different eyes to look and analyze tape. And now it's the evolution of MMA. MMA, like now that he's doing it and his team is doing it and they have success. Well, guess what? Eric Nixick's going to start doing it, and then fucking John, Winklejohn's going to start doing it, and then and it's just the evolution of the sport. He just happens to be a step above everybody right now in preparation. And I think it's incredible, man. He's an innovator in not only his division but for the UFC entirety from 125 to heavyweight. His game plan is just above and beyond. And the more we learn about how they're doing it, the better off it's going to get. And because he's going to bring it on, and now it's open source to the UFC. Now everybody else is going to do, they're not going to, maybe they do it exactly how they do it, but maybe they find to do it even a little bit better way. So this next year, 2 years of the whole fighting nerds and their evolution and how other camps are going to try to do the same thing to implement the strategy to the game plan, like you're saying, the way he changes his position, like that's just not something that you're taught to do. This is your style, and this is what you have to do to make your style utilize against his style. These guys are changing their styles from fight to fight. Like, talk about athleticism, talk about confidence in their coach. Because I have through career tried to change my style, and I've tried a couple different styles throughout the years. And I found out, since when I broke my foot a couple years ago, and I used to be, believe it or not, I was really dynamic, in and out, in and out. But when I broke my foot, I got labored, and now I kind of just walk around, thud around like a Mike Tyson. But after that injury, I can never change again. Now, back to the point of Borralho changing his stance. I mean, that's a huge thing. Like, especially once you get tired, you go back to what you're used to, and for him to be able to change it from fight to fight is just incredible.
Yes, it is incredible. I think I'm going to have to lean for sure to Caio to get this victory done. When you look at all the facts, when you just look at how good he's already done, the fact that he's on this undefeated streak in the middleweight division, and that he's able to adjust on the fly and move the game forward. Your boy Kobe Fair, who was on the show a couple times, who's a rising prospect and already under management under Ali Abdelaziz, and he's not even at the UFC or PFL or any of those levels. He talked about the fighting nerds, and he said there's two teams that he knows about that approach fights at this extremely high level, and that's Khabib's team, right, where they have teams of people coming in and everybody's helping everybody, and the fighting nerds. So it looks like these are the two teams that are at the top of the game. We shall see. I don't know. I mean, anything can happen. That's the beauty of the sport. Imavov pulled off something amazing against Izzy. Let's see if he can do it against Borralho. But you asked me, put my money somewhere, I'm putting it on Caio. We got a couple of comments. Let me start it off. Tehran back again says, what up, pimps? What's up, Tehran? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for all your support. We have an announcement, by the way, I'm going to make in 1 second. But before we do that, let's read through a couple more comments. UFC rumored Prates versus Neal for Chicago. Let's go. I'm going to that card. I'm down to see Carlos Prates. Short notice if they're going to let him know now. I'm pretty sure that whole rumor of Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje is not happening in August. I'm so mad about that because I got my hopes up. They already have a co-main listed. I think that was just total fugazi nonsense. King Tersey also says, still need 2 more fights, though. I went through the top 15 of all weight classes. Only other options are Gary versus somebody and Rakic Reyes. Rakic Reyes is a banger. Ian Gary versus anybody is a banger. So if those go down, wow, that will be absolutely incredible. All right, here's the announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, for those of you who are online right now, memberships on the 10-7 channel have officially launched. Right now, we just have one membership tier, which is Fighter. And the reason why we're calling that is very simple. You're going to get access to Justin Jane's training videos. We have 1 upload so far. We're about to upload another 10 later today. But you're going to have access to technique videos, and they're going to come. We're going to have more and more and more, depending on what you guys ask for and what you guys think is going to be most beneficial, depending on what stage in the game you are in terms of your training. So a lot of this stuff is coming, but memberships are officially live. If you go through to our YouTube channel and click the membership tab, I think via web browser, it doesn't show up on mobile for whatever reason, but you can sign up and support the channel and hopefully learn a lot about fighting and improve yourself in terms of self-defense and fitness. That's the announcement. We'll make more videos on this front going forward. But again, memberships are live. Now, another thing that Caio talked about in his recent submission radio interview was Robert Whittaker fighting RDR. Now, he was pretty surprised that he fought RDR because he was trying to fight Whittaker. He even wanted a similar date, like somewhere in July or August, and Whittaker turned him down, but then all of a sudden said yes to RDR. Guy with a big name, but not a ton of experience in the UFC. But let's talk about this, and then I'll tell you what Caio said in terms of his prediction. But Justin, seeing what RDR recently did to Kevin Holland, seeing what happened with Whittaker in his last fight against Khamzat Chimaev, also lost to DDP, had some losses, had some wins. He beat Aliskerov previous to losing to Khamzat. How do you see this fight going down for the legend Robert Whittaker?
Man, he just hasn't looked great in his last. And depending on how that injury, I don't know if he broke his jaw from Khamzat or whatnot, or broke his teeth or something. But recovering from those kind of injuries are are big deals, man. And man, RDR's he looked incredible against Kevin Holland. I think he's coming on. He's going to be the more motivated fighter. Whittaker, he had a chance at Gold had a chance at that number one contender spot, but now he's 2 or 3 fights away from even being considered as a contender. I mean, that's exhausting, especially where he is in the career. So I'm taking RDR on this one.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Whittaker. I think that Whittaker is actually quite skilled on the ground, excuse me. I think that the Khamzat Chimaev shook a lot of fans' confidence in him. But again, I think Khamzat is just levels above everybody else that you're going to face in the UFC and in professional fighting. So I don't think it's really a great litmus test for where Robert Whittaker's at. So I think he's going to come out on top. I think RDR is a legend. I think he's tough. I think one of the points that Caio made in his interview is that he's got loads of experience, just not loads of experience in the UFC with guys at the highest level. But this is a pretty substantial jump in competition. I don't know where Whittaker is ranked right now, but had like 1 or 2 of his close fights gone another way, he'd be top 3. He's still a top 3 fighter in the middleweight division, in my opinion, if not higher. So I think this is a very, very difficult fight, a big difference between fighting Kevin Holland or Bo Nickel. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Whittaker is going to get it done. He's going to show that he's back on top. By the way, Whittaker said he's got a 4-year plan, and with the right fights and the right victories, he believes he can be back at title contention. What do you think?
4 years, a long time, man. And I mean, how many fights is he
Did I say 4 years? I meant 4 fights. Sorry.
Oh,
he's got a 4-fight plan. Excuse me.
I mean, we all have a 4-fight plan until something happens, like we lose, and I had a 4-fight plan too. And sometimes it just doesn't work out Remember, a lot of things have to go good. It doesn't matter how good you are in fighting, like bad fighters win too, and there's a lot of times you need a little bit of luck. And to get lucky 4 times in a row where he's at in his career, he's going to be fighting top guys. I mean, he's going to have to do everything perfect, and he's going to have to get lucky for that to happen.
So let's just take a quick look at the rankings just so we can kind of think this through and maybe plot out a potential return from the issue that he's facing, though, is no matter what happens with this title shot next with Khamzat versus DDP, whoever wins, it's going to be a champ that's already beaten him. So I think that's going to be difficult for him to go up against. But so look at this. He's still ranked number 5. So I don't think he's going to be fighting Izzy again. I highly doubt that. He's got this fight against RDR. Where's that going to put him if he wins? I don't think it's going to move him much. He's probably going to stay put. Then he's going to have to take on, he hasn't fought Strickland. That would be a cool fight.
I'd like to see that fight. I'd like to see that fight
too. And then depending on what happens with Caio and Imavov, maybe he's going to have to fight the winner of that. I don't know. Or they might go into title shot contention. We shall see. It's going to be like a lot of factors. See, if I think about it now, he could potentially get there in 3 fights. Even defend, it would be his 3rd fight would be the title shot, depending on what happens with the rest of these fights. But I think it's going to be a lot easier if either DDP or Khamzat's displaced from the top. I just don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. But I love to see it, and I love to see the ambition is still there and that he still wants to go for it, and he's not giving up. He's not talking about changing weight classes, at least as of yet. He's still sticking in there and thinks he can get it done, and I think the sport is better with Whittaker in the mix. Matthew is saying RDR for the win. Oh, and Tehran also has got RDR beating Rob. I'm just curious.
You hit it right. I mean, Khamzat broke our confidence. Khamzat's good, but realistically, you stroke the fuck out of him. You, and that's fine. It's fine. But you really put him on this high pedestal, and I do think he's good. But I don't think he's there's a little bit of luck in that too, I feel, but I don't think he's light years ahead of Rob. I think he's probably better than Rob. He's younger, he's fresher, but I don't see him as light years ahead of him. You know what I mean?
I don't see him light years ahead per se. I just see in one particular facet, I see him as light years ahead of everybody, meaning it's like let's say you have a video game and there's one move that you can do in the video game if you pull off a particular combination of like keystrokes that you can't defend. That's like indefensible. You can't use it all the time. You can't spam that move because maybe it drains your health or something like that. But like that's the way I look at Khamzat's shots and his jiu-jitsu in combination with his wrestling. It's an attack that is almost like indefensible, but he can't do it forever and ever. He has a window of time at which he can apply that special move. and almost have like pure success. So that's where I think what happened with Rob is he got hit with that move. If you look at how far he shot out on Rob, it didn't even make sense. Nobody would do that because nobody would land it. Like he barely caught his foot and then worked his way up and just totally manhandled him. So that's, I guess that's what I mean when I say levels above. In that one particular facet in that area, I just think it's like at this point, nobody's figured out how to defend it. And I think that's going to sustain for a while.
Gilbert Burns didn't.
At the beginning, I think he still lost round one, but he survived the onslaught. So he actually, and also Khamzat he didn't follow the game plan in that fight. He didn't take him to the ground nearly as much as apparently his coaches wanted to. Maybe part of that was because who knows, he was tired, or another part is he was afraid of Gilbert on the ground because Gilbert has some serious jiu-jitsu. I'm curious to see what's going on now and what's going to have happened, or what will take place in this fight in terms of his jiu-jitsu. Now, obviously he's not fighting somebody who's like a massive jiu-jitsu threat on the ground, but I think that what Caio says about Khamzat, we're going to get to that topic soon, is that Khamzat is not just a wrestler. He's a wrestler, jiu-jitsu practitioner. He melds the two in a very, very unique way alongside with his athleticism and his almost like lack of fear. And that's what makes him very dangerous. I'm going to play that clip a little bit later just to get your thoughts on what he says, but we can talk about it a little bit later. All right. Now we get to a really fun topic that everybody's been talking about. We haven't talked about it at all. We don't even know if it's real. Donald Trump said this in a speech, I think last week, near the end of last week, and he's claiming that he wants to have a UFC event at the White House. Guys, I've been saying this for months and months and months. If you don't own TKO stock at this point, you may as well get a little bit of it. When is the last time ever in the history of America where there was one particular sport that was erected, like they erected something on the White House property and they had an exhibition of sorts? This is crazy. We have the sitting president as a massive fan of this sport that's growing, about to get a licensing deal and all these different things. And now I bought more stock, by the way, today. Not a ton, but I bought a little bit more because I'm like, I have to. They're talking about putting up a state. Now, he said 25,000 people. Oh, we're going to crunch the numbers right now. I meant to do this before the show. We're going to do it live. He said 25,000 people on the property of the White House. A lot of people are saying BS. But let's not even talk about numbers just yet. Justin, is this real? Do you think this fight actually happens at the White House next July to celebrate 250 years?
I mean, I think it'd be awesome, and I think it's definitely a possibility, especially with Donald Trump and president. I know Dana White and Donald are buddies, so I really think he's really going to try to make this happen. Not to mention, it'd be a spectacle. Like, it'd be everybody in the world would be watching the UFC at that time. Nobody would want to miss that. You know what I mean? So I think it'd be a spectacle. No, yes. I mean, even if you're not a UFC fan, you'd want to watch what's going on at the White House. What the hell? What's the UFC what is that? You know, and it's going to attract so many new fans, and it's going to be a spectacle. Hey, what about that being the first Netflix deal? I could see that happening.
This is exactly what people are talking about. This is more incentive. If this actually happens, this is more incentive for Netflix, or it's got to be Netflix. Please let it be Netflix. But for Netflix to get in bed with the UFC and have this as a massive streaming event. On top of it, look at what's happening. Who is stepping up to the plate when they heard about this? Jon Jones, who just retired. Conor McGregor is interested. He wants to get in there and be the first fighter, or maybe the only fighter in the history of the U.S. to fight on the White House lawn. This is bringing everybody out of the woodworks. Fighters who are lacking motivation or deciding for a change in their career are now all of a sudden rushing to come back to the UFC. This is everything you could want. This is amazing fodder for whoever is going to get in bed with the UFC, and for the fighters who we've had trouble motivating some of them, I guess. So now we can have this incredible fight. Do you think this is real? Do you think this is actually going to happen?
Yeah, I do, but I do have some insight on the Netflix deal.
Tell me.
So I have good news and bad news. The good news is Netflix is still in the top 3 bidding for this, but ESPN still is number 1 right now.
Oh, ESPN is number 1. Okay.
As of right now, they're the front runner right now.
Very interesting. All right. Well, I guess we'll see how that plays out. And if it's ESPN, look, they're going to choose whatever is going to be the best for business and for the bottom line. So it's all good. Now, let's talk about some of these numbers. And is this 25,000 capacity realistic? So this is what nobody's been talking about. They're like, is he talking totally out of his, butt or whatever? Is this real? So if we look at just a quick AI overview, what's the typical square footage of an arena? Not a stadium, but if we're talking about a smaller arena, let's say 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 square feet. And again, you're erecting it, you're building it up so you can have a higher capacity. So this would probably be like a smaller arena, maybe something like, let's see how many people might, it's not giving us the capacity of any of these, but let's say a smaller arena, 10, 15, 20,000. And then if we go over here, I looked at the square footage of the White House. So we were saying bottoming out at 30,000 square feet. If we look at the White House lawn, it covers 18 acres, and 1 acre is approximately 43,000. So we've got almost 800,000 square feet on the entire lawn. Now, this is obviously including the front and the back. We have to be careful where we would erect this arena. But even if you take like a fourth of this, 200,000 square feet, there is ample room to make this happen. The other major concern that I've heard about are security concerns, right? But we do have events all the time with the president, especially during inauguration, where you have loads of people coming into the fray, the president being in view and whatnot. I think the security concerns are going to be easily met because the White House is a much more secure location as well. Like they literally have snipers on the roof. They have, I think, like missiles in the ground that, I don't know, I've heard like crazy stuff, but I actually think it's going to be relatively secure. Lastly, they're going to probably vet all the people that want to buy tickets. You're going to have to get there early, go through major security checks. I think they can pull it off. And I think this can happen. I just feel like now that he said it, he's going to do it. Plus, he's like best friends with Dana White. So all of these lead me to believe that this is going down. All right, now the fun part, Justin. If we are kind of in it, we got a couple of comments and then we're going to do the really fun part. Hold on. Connor is trolling. He doesn't come back. He's just doing it. I don't know. Connor, the way that he wants to get into politics and all this stuff, I could see him wanting to do this. Dude, he wants to be a part of historic moments. This would be the most historic fight ever. We've got Andrew Nance says, let's effing go. King Terzi says, Trump said there will be a UFC championship fight. He never said more than one. Yeah, it could be like one or two. I just don't buy it, though. I just think that they're going to want to make it a big event. You know what I mean? As opposed to a couple fights or like part of a day-long celebration. I could be wrong. But I feel like at least you got to have at least 5 fights. It's too much to put all that together, to get a stadium and to build it up and just have like one UFC fight or even 3, 5, and I'll be happy because I mostly just watch the main card anyways. I think it's got to be 5 fights. Man, he says they made a boxing ring in times. Of course, exactly right. I think it's going to happen. Security will not be a problem. Yeah, 100%. You see, so that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm in an alignment with Matthew. Now, here's the fun part: fantasy card. Let's hear it. Give me 5 fights that you think would just be killer for this event.
McGregor Diaz. Man, you put me on the spot here. Let me think about it.
McGregor Diaz is fire. I'd rather have McGregor Chandler, me personally, but yeah.
Well, they got to settle the beef, the best of 3, and then you'd have to have Dustin Poirier come out of retirement and fight one more time. Yeah, man, he's an American legend, dude. He's from Louisiana. He's like super hillbilly. He's like represents like the American culture, maybe Cowboy Cerrone. I'm trying to think, like, here's the thing, like, do you want to match these guys, these American fighters up against Russian killers and have our American fighters lose on the White House lawn, possibly lose on have an Islam on the card? Like, he's going to come over here representing Russia and Dagestan on our Independence Day and more than likely beat anybody they put in front of him. And I mean, I don't know if I'd want to watch that happen, so we'd have to be very particular about the matchups.
I've heard that too. Well, are you at all interested in Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, the American versus the Brit? No, even for that event.
No, because I'd root against Jon. I'm so sick of his stuff. Like, dude, it makes me mad. Like, people are sharing it so much. It's like, oh, White House fight, huh? It's like, bro, just get the fuck out of here. Like, just get out of here. It's like it is
crazy.
I lost so much respect for him, man. It's disgusting.
Yeah, what is he doing?
And he's just a pure fuck up. Like, all he does is fuck up. He just was with the naked girl in the car and ran out of the car. Like, what? What is this guy doing with his life? Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, I'm sick of it.
I think there must be something wrong with him right now, like going, because it just literally doesn't make sense unless I don't know. it's basically it's defying logic, you know, what his actions and his behavior and what he's saying. But that being said, I don't know, it would be cool, I think. Okay, and we've got those ones. We've got Conor McGregor potentially coming back. You're thinking about bringing a legend out. I would like to see Islam fight, to be honest. I'd like to. I know it's Independence Day, and I know it's all about America and everything. I'd still love one of the biggest stars in the sport to Poirier or something like that. What about if Strickland gets his next victory, Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland for the belt?
That'd be funny.
Let's go. That would be cool. They're saying like Colby might fight as well. I don't know. I think there's so many fighters that would want to be a part of it. I think
every fighter wants to be a part of it. Not even so many. Every fighter, me included.
Yeah, I think they should do. I think they should have prelims. I think they should just stack it and make it a full event as one of the days of the celebration, like on a Saturday or something. You know what I mean? Like they could do lots of different celebrations, but that should be one day, like a full UFC event. I don't know, man. That's what I think they should do, and I think it'd be incredible. But anyways, lots of fun matchups. I don't think it has to be all Americans. I'm down to see the Russians come in. They have a lot of respect, and they love fighting in the US and stuff like that. So I don't see a problem with it. All right. So we have UFC therapy. And Jones the Hunter, he did mention something like that. Okay, let's not get Justin mad. All right, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway can be on that card. Woo, that'd be great. I love that. It's sad, but he's the best American option. He's talking about Jon Jones. Oh God, yeah, Colby. I know. I think Colby's gonna be gone by then. I think he's about to retire. He said if he doesn't get the right fight, he's going to the WWE. So I think he's gonna be out. Not Strickland, the decision king. Oh well, I mean, I still think Strickland's fun to watch. He got a decision over Izzy. That was a great fight. Is Chimaev Islam a competitive fight, Justin? What? Khamzat Chimaev is not gonna fight Islam.
Yeah, that'll never happen. I think Chimaev kills me. He's way too big.
Chimaev would smoke him, and that like it's not. Yeah, it's the size really, and yeah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Western says, "What's up, lads? Western, welcome back." And he says, "Dude, Khamzat at the White House with the oh stop. All right, yeah, let's not get into all that stuff. All right, anyways, all right." Number 4. Oh God, we probably should skip over this. This is 1-4.
No, you go ahead. Say what you need to say.
I just don't know what's going on. Like it's so bizarre to me. You bounce, you make it, and then why did he bounce? Was it the criminal charges? Because now he's talking about coming back immediately. And then he posted a picture of Tom Aspinall knocked out and him on the cage. So like he still wants to fight Aspinall. Was it just I really don't understand what's going on.
If he comes back, I want him to lose so bad. I don't care about his legacy. I want him to lose to Tom Aspinall so bad. Especially if he got knocked out in like the second round. Wow, that'd be just so incredible.
Is it that he's literally wants Tom to have one more fight so he can study him? I don't understand. Or is he almost having like internal battles with himself? That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I feel like he must be dealing with some bad stuff. And I think that was emblematic. The incident that happened in February is emblematic of that. So I think he's just not in his right frame of mind. I think he wants to fight, but I think he's just really confused and having some issues. And that's what I think it is. I think it's some mental, emotional issues that are at the heart of what's going on. And that's why we can't get our heads around it. Let's move on from this topic. All right. Now we're going to get to Caio Borralho says that Khamzat Chimaev is going to get the job done. We're going to play this clip right now. And Justin and everybody, I want to get your thoughts. By the way, when we did our survey about who wins between DDP versus Khamzat, we got like 65% people picking DDP. DDP seems to be the pick of the people, but we shall see. All right, check this out.
For this one, or you think Khamzat is going to walk away the champion?
Actually, right now, it's hard to bet against DDP because he always shut my mouth, you know? I always bet against him, and he always shut my mouth. So it's hard to bet against him, but it's hard to bet against Khamzat. It's just going to be how prepared to the Khamzat style. That is not a wrestling style. It's a different thing. That's the mistake that people do a lot. They prepare to fight against a wrestler. And Khamzat is not, it's not pure wrestling. He has a system. He does something different. He puts jiu-jitsu on the wrestling. So he needs to be well prepared, not against a wrestler, but against this Khamzat style. And I don't know if he's going to be ready for that. Like, I feel that this fight can be as fast as the Whittaker fight. Like, really.
Oh, wow.
I think this fight can be really, really fast. But I can see this fight going to the second, the third round, and then I see some advantage for Dricus. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like Dricus's size will be a problem at all, or not really?
Yeah, size and strength. You know, like I think Khamzat, to make him stay on the ground and all that. And Dricus is not bad on the ground. You know, so to make him stay on the ground and all that, if Dricus can take like 1.5 rounds or 2 rounds, maybe Khamzat will be like fatigued for doing so much strength and all that, and then the fight's gonna get better to Dricus, you know.
Justin, let's hear it. You're picking DDP. What are your thoughts on what Caio says?
I mean, it sounds like I'm just repeating what he said because I've lost so much money. I've said it in shows before, just like he said, I've lost so much money betting against this guy. I can't go against this guy anymore. He's anybody that just keeps defying the odds over and over and over. I have the utmost respect for, and I can't root against him. I know Khamzat's your favorite fighter, but DDP in the last couple months has really grown on me. Like I've told you, the viewers too before, like I'm trying to get better about watching interviews to get more of a relationship with these fighters. And DDP is one of the guys that I've really took a liking to, especially after the breakdown, when I broke down when he fought Izzy and when I broke down when he fought Sean, just to watch. And it's because like I'm watching it in real time and I'm sometimes smoking, sometimes drinking, sometimes not really paying attention to the fight. I'm talking to you, I'm talking to somebody else. And it's like I kept turning away because it's like, man, this is lackluster. Like it's just sloppy technique. But when I was able to break down his style and really show it's not sloppy technique, he's doing it with intention and he's doing it at certain times in the fight. And it's overwhelming to fighters and nobody's been able to figure it out yet. So I've really gained to respect his style and his trash talk. I've been really enjoying that. DDP's become one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, just because, like I said, when he was fighting Sean, he was fighting my teammate, so I didn't want him to win and this and that. But now, I mean, to know how tough Sean is, I mean, I see the guy train every single day, and to see what DDP did to him not once but twice, man, you can't not respect it. And and Sean respects DDP too, man. And Sean doesn't respect anybody, and so anybody that has Sean, that has gained Sean Strickland, he must be doing Sean Strickland's. I just had a brain fart, but his respect is like that's a fucking good dude, man. So I'm taking DDP.
All right. Well, we are going to agree to disagree. I just thought it was a super cool clip to share. Caio, who I mentioned earlier, is so intelligent, so dialed in. His analysis is so spot on. Those are his thoughts. So let me know if you guys agree or disagree. We got a couple of people chiming in the comments that I want to highlight. So UFC Therapy again says UFC Paris closest to home. I guess you're from Malta. Welcome from Malta. It's a place I've always wanted to go. I remember I hung out with this dude back in the day when I met this guy. He was Maltese, and he knew Italian, English, Maltese, and I believe Spanish. It says very common on the island of Malta to learn all these different languages that are from all these countries in the vicinity. So it's a super cool place. He always said like tourism was the engine of that country because it's such a fun place to go. So anyways, welcome from Malta. Thank you so much for joining. Jake Furman says, I say, he's talking about Jon Jones. I say he's the GOAT, but it's somewhat misleading. He's basically the GOAT, but mentally weak compared to his peers. I don't know if we can say somebody who's done what Jon Jones has done is mentally weak. I think right now he may be having a bit of a mental break, but to call somebody mentally weak who's done what he's done is just like, it's just not fair. I mean, he's done something that nobody else has been able to do. I think he's got to be at least reasonably mentally strong, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny, Justin. And by the way, guys, I just want to remind you guys, memberships are live. So if you want to become one of the first members of this channel, just go to our YouTube channel on your browser and you can sign up for the membership. You're going to get special access to Justin Jane's training videos and training footage so you can learn how to fight, protect yourself, get in shape, and all the good stuff. But Justin, it's kind of an interesting thing. And I was thinking about this myself. It's like, sometimes people have already kind of getting on our case for different things that we've said on this channel. But you as a fighter, it's like when people criticize you in your fights or what you did or your strategy or your game plan or you lost or this and that, it's just such a funny thing because don't you just want to be like, well, if you think you could do it better, why don't you get in there? But people would be like, but I'm not a fighter. So it's like, well, then why are you saying that? Like, it's the same thing as if you're starting a business and let's say you make 10 million instead of a projected 20 million or something. And they're like, you moron. It's like, wait a minute. You haven't done anything close to what I just did. Yeah, I didn't hit the projection, but I just made $10 million. What did you do in the last year? Like, you get in and do it better. Like, is that a thing? Like, don't you guys get frustrated with how people are so critical? And then, but you, like, you could clearly say, well, fuck if you think you could do it better, go for it.
Dude, I had 2 kids that I went to middle school with, not even high school, hit me up when I was in the UFC. Haven't talked to them since middle school, and they both told me what I should have done in my fight. Like, bro, we haven't seen each other since middle school. I don't know who the fuck you think you are. Like, we're not boys, we're not friends. Like, what the fuck are you hitting me up for? You know, and dude, it's insane. And I can look back at my mistakes. I can rewatch my fight and see where I make mistakes because what people don't understand, and they'll never understand, but why fighting is so awesome. It's because it's not a thought process. We're just reacting. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I was like, okay, well I'm gonna walk forward and I'm just okay, well, okay, there's my no. It's okay, jab, cross, pop, pop, or he throws a punch and you move your head like that's when you call like when you say you're in flow state or when you're in the zone, like you're just your body's just moving. It's fucking wild. So like it's fighting is just so reactionary based. And so like for instance, when I fought Charles Rosa and in the third round, allegedly I'm losing the fight, but I crack him, boom, left hook, and he falls backward in the fence, and I follow up and I'm rushing forward and I throw like three or four big shots. I hit him in the body. He's curled up like this, and I throw this big overhand right, and I threw it with 110% power. I threw everything into it. I threw my body weight into it, and I missed. But when I missed, my right leg came forward, think like a pitcher throwing a pitch, and I dove in for a shot and took him down while he's rocked. It wasn't my thought process to be like, oh, okay, hey, let's take him down now. Let's see if we can finish the fight. It was just me in that position that was against the game plan. So that's why criticism is so funny, because we train to react. We don't train to think about things, because obviously that makes no sense. I'm losing the fight. I have him rocked on the fence. Why am I taking him down? You understand? Right. So I can look back and I can look and realize, that was a mistake. I should have done this different. But again, then you have people telling me because again, they say this is what I think you should do, and you should think about doing this. It's like, it's not about thinking. It's about reacting.
Just like you're programming a robot and then you just let it go and follow the code. Like I've heard other fighters say that, and that makes a lot of sense. By the way, I do want to highlight Jake. He kind of wanted to clarify his comments. He said I was getting triggered. Maybe I was getting a little triggered, but I do notice this a lot. But he's saying no, it's not about mentally weak compared to the general public. He's saying compared to his peers. I mean, I still kind of disagree, but you may have a different take because you train with so many amazing fighters. I mean, what do you think? Let's hear the professional opinion.
I mean, I can see where Jake's coming from, and I'm not going to say I agree with him, but I'm not going to say I disagree with him, because he's at a point in his career to where he's being hunted by Tom Aspinall. He's never had this kind of pressure to take a fight before. He has everything to lose in his legacy, and he knows that he can just kind of fuck around. And maybe, dude, at his career, he's old. I'm 35, dude. Right now, I my neck is in so much pain from neck surgery a couple years ago. So I keep sitting here trying to stretch out. He has injuries. He has miles on him. He is probably a little bit afraid, dude, because again, everything to lose and not really much to gain. He's already rich. He's already famous. He's already considered the greatest of all time. But as a fighter, though, fighters, you have this internal dialogue that you do want, even the position I'm in right now. I told Roman the other day, I was feeling good. I'm like, hey, start looking for a fight for me. I'm getting a little bit of an itch back. Why? There's no reason to, but I'm still going to, because this little spot in my stomach is I have to do it. And now if you're like, hey, well, you're gonna fucking fight Islam Makhachev, for $10,000, it's gonna be probably not a good matchup for me. You know what I'm saying? But
gotcha. Yeah,
as a fighter, even John at late in his career, he still is a fighter. He still has that in his, thank you. He still has that in his gut, and I think he likes the idea of it. But when it comes to brass tacks and signing up, he's a little afraid.
Okay, and Jake, we got one more comment from Jake. I think he's responding to you, Justin. He says, in the sense that he said he can't bear the thought of losing. He used to party before fights, so he'd have an excuse for losing. He always ducks the big challenge. I know.
I've heard that before.
I've heard that too.
Conor McGregor did it too with Khabib.
Yeah, fair.
That's what he said.
I just think that Jon Jones it's so popular right now to beat up on him and just say he's afraid or he's a duck or just kind of bring the negativity towards him. And somebody like you've watched the UFC for so long and MMA for so long, so have I. So if we just try and for newer fans, and maybe Jake, you're not a newer fan. Maybe you're an old school fan too. But like for newer fans who are being hypercritical of Jon Jones, all I say is just go back and try and watch his victories back to back. I mean, there was a time when he took 3 fights in a year. I mean, when he was younger, he did that and he won all 3 fights. So just trying to play devil's avocado here and give him some credit where credit's due. That's all I'm saying. All right. We're moving on to the final topic of today's show. And this is a crazy story, man. Oh man. I think I don't know if you guys are big fans of Ben Askren like I am, but my fandom of Ben Askren goes way beyond his relatively brief career in the UFC, beyond his career in Bellator as well. I am a massive fan of Ben Askren because of he's just incredible on podcasts. And in particular, one of my favorite shows to watch is DC Funky and the Champ. It's DC and Ben Askren, and it's such an underrated show. It's one of the best. It's one of the best in terms of a 2-person podcast. They are so good together. Ben Askren is so funny. He's so spot on. He's so intelligent, and he's not afraid to offend anybody. He does not care. It's almost like a little bit of he just doesn't have that same level of care or empathy or something like that. You know what I mean? But that's what makes it amazing. Kind of like a TJ Dillashaw. But Ben Askren is a little bit funnier, I guess you could say. They're both awesome. Both two guys that I love listening to. Anyways. Super tragic story. Just happened to get a really gnarly staph infection that transitioned into pneumonia. And out of the blue, this guy who's super healthy, he's around my age, so it's especially.
Is that what it came from? Staph infection? I never knew what it came from.
That's my recollection. I'm going to double check right now if maybe I'm wrong on that front, but that's what I heard. Lung transplant. Okay, so let's see here we're gonna go to this. I know there was pneumonia for sure involved. Let's see if this kind of gives us a quick rundown. So double lung transplant after sudden bout of pneumonia. I do know about the pneumonia. So Askren's been in the hospital since severe lung damage caused by a sudden bout of pneumonia during which he spent time on life support. I thought it started with staph, but it does not say that here. Earlier this month, with severe pneumonia, Amy wrote. 9 days later, he was on a ventilator, but been able to wean his sedation for enough to open his eyes. He was bad. He was on his deathbed. He was about to die. Now, on top of what happened, he's on his deathbed and he needed a lung transplant. Now, I looked up lung transplants when I heard about all this. They are one of the most complicated and serious operations you can imagine. Obviously, 2 huge organs, probably very delicate organs that are essential for your life, are now being put inside of you. Something people may not realize is when you get any sort of organ donation, whether it's lung, heart, kidneys, whatever, your body is going to naturally try to destroy those organs because they're foreign bodies. So your immune system is going to be targeting them. What that means is for the rest of your life, you have to be on very, very serious autoimmune suppression drugs. This has massive effects on your health and your quality of life. So it's not like he got the lung transplant as everything is all good. He's got a ton of recovery. We also have to hope that there's no major infection. We have to hope that the drugs he's taking to suppress his immune system work. And on top of all of this, his insurance company actually denied the claim. Now, I know people are so upset and they're up in arms about oh my God, how can an insurance company do this? How inhumane. You guys have to remember what country we are in and how the health system works here. It's a business. It's not like other countries where it's part of the government and it's meant to truly be a life-saving mechanism and sort of like a natural right. In the US, it's not like that. So we have to understand, when people are getting so shocked, it's well, they probably have protocols and reasons in place as to why this claim was denied. And because, again, they're trying to run. I'm not saying I'm for that decision. I'm just saying you have to. It's just like when people are like, why does this guy get this fight? It's like you have to understand what the UFC is. It's the same thing. So this was a tragedy. His claim was denied. It's like a $1.2 million operation. But because Ben Askren is so beloved by the MMA community, and Jake Paul even came to help to his defense. I don't know how much of it he funded himself, but eventually they got the transplant. We are forever thankful to the donor and his family. This is the beginning of a new lifestyle for Ben, but every new day he has a gift. It still doesn't feel real that he was walking around completely healthy just 5 weeks ago. Insane. And then it says, let's see if there's any more information. I'm constantly in awe of all the people carrying us through right now, Amy wrote. Can't wait to tell Ben about it. I'm hopeful that in coming weeks, he'll be able to give the next update. Man, oh man, like this is heavy, Justin. I feel like this probably hits a lot closer to home for you, for somebody who trains, who's dealt with injuries, who's dealt with lots of surgeries. And even Michael Bisping was like, dude, I've had so many surgeries, but this is a whole nother level. What does this mean for you just in this moment where it seems like we're coming to a happy ending and he's gotten the community and the support people to rally behind him to make this happen? What is this making you feel right now?
Oh man, it's just especially with like Jake Paul coming out, and again, you say you don't know how much Jake paid. Jake came out and said he'd pay for the whole thing, man, and it just goes to show like once foes, now it's like you always have that respect, and I think Jake Paul's really underappreciated. Early in his career, I bashed him as much as everybody did, but he's advocated for fighters since day one. He's tried to challenge Dana White, and now he's a foe that he knocked out viciously in a boxing match, and it comes to help him. And I'm sure there are other donors as well, Jake being the most notable one. But man, it's just cool that these guys. I mean, they fought once. They're not buddies, and just the respect that Jake has and the financial position he is. I just think it's awesome that people can get behind each other. Anytime, dude, I'm a big advocate on helping people, man. And anytime that someone can, do something like that and save a life, or even it doesn't even have to be that dramatic. I'm just really appreciative, and just it goes to show that some people aren't all pieces of shit, especially living in Las Vegas. Everybody has an angle in Las Vegas. It's hard to have real friends because, again, everyone has an angle. Everyone uses you for something or another. So Jake Paul got nothing out of doing this, and it's cool. It's nice to see that people like him are still around.
This is what the AI overview says. We can't always trust it. It makes a lot of mistakes, but it does say reports indicate that the donation was around $500,000. That's around 50% of what Ben Askren needed to get the surgery done. So he obviously was probably like the largest donation out there, which is amazing. And I do think it's incredible that he showed support to Ben Askren, you have to give credit where credit's due. Ben Askren promoted the heck out of their fight. He sent Jake Paul on his way into his newfound career as a boxer. He really did. And honestly, Ben Askren sold that fight more than anybody, I think, at least with the MMA community. We were all rooting for Ben and got behind him. And Ben Askren, if you guys don't remember it, man, he is an epic smack talk. He's just awesome. So anyways, I guess I just wanted to highlight the story, get your thoughts, and end on a positive note, because at least for now, this is a happy ending. And let's just pray that there are no complications, that the organs take, and Ben Askren is able to live as long of a life as is possible with these new lungs. That's all we got for you guys today. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Once again, memberships are live, so please join us in this journey if you guys want to be a part of the journey and want to be a part of the team and want to be one of our first members on the team. We're also probably going to make somebody one of the moderators to this channel, to the chat, as the live streams are now. We have them super regular every Monday and Friday. We'd love to know if anybody's interested in being a moderator. I think we already have somebody in mind. I imagine Western. He's been with us since the get-go. I think, Justin, you've talked to him a little bit about that, but Western, let us know if you're down to take on that role, and we'd love to have you if you're interested. And that's all we got.
You got to answer your Instagram, man. You got to answer your Instagram.
I'm so bad at getting back to people on my Instagram. I'm sorry. Western, if I have missed some of your messages, I apologize. But anyways, that is it for today, Monday, July 7th. Check us out on Fridays at 1:30 p.m. PST. That will be our next show this Friday. Hey, Western says, I'm here painting a ceiling. All right, cool. Well, I hope you want to be our mod. And if you do, that'd be awesome. If not, no worries. We understand. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. We got some fun videos coming out this week. Again, videos every day. I missed a video on Sunday. That was the first time in a while. But it's just a long story. I was super tired and I slept in until 2:15 p.m. The day got away from me. It is what it is. But I got a good one that I just put out not too long ago. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much. Like the stream if you did enjoy the show. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Take it easy.